Shalom Shalom Mishpocha! Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. Today I'm going to continue the idea of the 613 commandments, the 613 mitzvot, and I want to continue to talk about how sometimes people feel overwhelmed because there's 613 commandments to be kept. But if you'll remember from last time, not all 613 apply to one person. Some apply to men, some apply to women, some apply to Israeli kings and to Israeli agricultural farmers, etc., etc. Some we can't perform today because there's no Levitical priesthood, there's no temple standing. There's a Levitical priesthood, but they're not working and active in the temple. And many of us live outside of Jerusalem. And also another way to put your mind at ease is that if you're a believer in Yeshua HaMashiach, whether you're a Christian or a Messianic believer, you're already keeping the majority of the commandments without even realizing it. And, with me, when I started to, convert to Nazarene Judaism, and once I started practicing Messianic Judaism, it didn't happen overnight. It's not like one day I wasn't keeping any of the commandments and boom, the next day I was keeping all 613. No, it was a slow, gradual process as I began to study God's Word and began to study the Torah. The more I understood about the commandments, the more I understood which ones I needed to be kept, and so I just slowly started keeping them. First I got tzitzit. Then I got tefillin. Then I got a mezuzah for my door. Then I started keeping the feast days one by one. Then I started keeping Shabbat, and just slowly built up. And then over a period of time, these things have just become a part of my life, and they're just second nature. So don't sweat it that you're not keeping all the commandments right now. God judges you, and God looks at you on a case-by-case basis. In other words, the light which you have and the current understanding which you have, that's what God's going to judge you by. Not saying that ignorance is bliss or that there's an excuse for not keeping the commandments, but God understands where you're at in your learning process, and He understands where you're at in your observance, and He realizes that it's going to take time to get you from point A to point B, from point 0 to point 613. And even in Acts, where it talks about how the converts would meet and they would learn one Shabbat to the next about Moshe, meaning the Torah, meaning the law. So the conversion process for a Gentile to a Jew was anywhere from a year to maybe even 3 years. So even during that period of time, they learned how to keep the commandments, and they learned what the commandments were all about. And so don't fret yourself or think that God's going to punish you because you know about the commandments now, you know about the Torah, you know you should be keeping it, but you're not keeping all of them. Don't sweat it. Take your time. Learn about them. And slowly start observing them. Ask questions. Ask rabbis, Messianic Nazarene rabbis, questions on how best to keep certain commandments, and just slowly learn and slowly build up your observance. Because when you learn that way, it sticks. But if you just try to do it all at once, you forget quickly, and it just doesn't stay. So slow and steady wins the race, and that's the way you should approach it when you're trying to begin to observe the various commandments. And once you do that and slowly do that, you'll see how such an easy process, and it just fits you like a glove, and you just kind of ease on into it, and you'll slowly begin to see more blessings manifest themselves in your life, because they keep the Torah. Might even see some curses, so to speak, subside because you begin to keep Torah. So don't let anybody discourage you. Don't get discouraged. Just keep at it, and hopefully this little message helped. Shalom and Shavua Tov Mishpocha.